Introducing Shop, Click, and Pick, the simplest way to support those doing good. We understand that shopping is a necessity, and with a slight adjustment, you can make a huge difference for those in need. Here's how it works. Visit communitypayitforward.us and navigate to the Find Your Partners tab. Discover our verified giving partners, trusted allies ready to meet your needs. Shop with any partner that resonates with you. Click a picture of your receipt or invoice. Pick a mission partner you wish to support and use their QR code to send a receipt to us. Then all you have to do is sit back and enjoy your purchase, knowing you've made a meaningful change for someone in need. Community Pay It Forward amplifies your business's impact by sharing your story with those who require your services, rallying support for those who need us all. Because no one needs to go it alone when we all come together.
Into a real fight wasn't right. Where can she dream here?
Hey everybody, how's it going? Zach Clayton, Community Pay It Forward, Community Dare to Care, and the PAC channels. And I am now adjusting my camera because, you know, what a better time to do it than when we go live, right? So, I want to apologize up front for being a little scatterbrained. Came downstairs 5 o'clock this morning and stepped in about 6 inches of water. So we've been dealing with floods all day long. My wife and I had to hurry and get creative to try to save a lot of the donations that we give away. We've dealt with a lot of wonderful, wonderful families who have needed a little bit of assistance. They've come and grabbed stuff today, which is just fantastic. We do have some people who are asking for other items. And if you can help us with these items, that would be great. We don't really have room to store them, but you know, if when we meet with these people, if we can find a way to get it to them, that would be great. But we've got, we are in need of some newborn clothing, both boys and girls, more girls than anything, and extra large women's clothes. If anybody's got an extra window swamp cooler, stand-up air conditioners, that would be great. It is getting a little bit warm, and it's time that we have to worry about all of that situation. Today, we're going to be replaying a show from last year. Really great friend of mine, one of my wonderful partners who's been with me for a long time, Mr. Steve Solis. And we're playing this right now because of the flooding and the hail and everything that is going on all over the country. And we invite any other roofers to consider calling us to find out how they can become part of the Community Pay It Forward family, because we need to get more people in your areas working because the weather everywhere is kind of going a little crazy. You know, it's it's not been saying anywhere. But yeah, this morning, come downstairs and first thing we saw, all of our yard work was demolished. And then I came downstairs and to get into the shower, didn't need to get into the shower, felt immediately, had water everywhere. So been ripping up carpet and here we go. So we do need people who can help us and help other people with the services that you need when it comes to emergency. We've got, wonderful organizations like Steve Solis of Independence Roofing. We've also got mold remediation. Michael is one of our partners. If you got mold in your house and you need to get it taken care of, you can get a hold of Michael. One of the things that we're going to try to work on talking to is we're going to be reaching out to some home insurance companies, because we're finding out that there's a lot of home insurance companies that are getting away with a lot of stuff, and this is not making anybody's life any better. It's one of those things that you as homeowners, we're required to hold this insurance. But if we're paying for it and we're not getting anything from it, I don't know. So, we may be trying to find insurance companies that we can talk to and lead people to, who are going to actually help people. Anybody who knows me knows that I'm not a huge fan of insurance companies. I walked around for 3 years with a broken neck because insurance companies. So, not my favorite people on earth. But we are going to be, like I was mentioning earlier, we are going to be playing a show from last year. And there is a theme with my ties that you will see. Because the second interview of the day is Santa. We're talking to Santa Claus. No, really, we're talking to Santa Claus. And as I mentioned yesterday, hey, it was 80 degrees. Well, we got Santa on summer vacation. He decided to come and spend a little bit of time with us. And, Santa's kind of decided to go on ahead and open up a summertime, let's just call it an 11-month-a-year job. He's got the one job for that December area. He's got that pretty well packed down. Now he wants to talk about you and your business and make sure that your business is Santa approved. What does that mean? That means, are you helping people? Are you doing good in the community? Are you doing great things for other people? Which, let's be honest, as business owners, this is something that we really need to do. If we're not doing great things for other people in our businesses, we really need to check out our business. Hey, the QR code up in the corner right now is the QR code for Community Dare to Care. Like I did say, today we had a flood. We had a pretty severe flood in our house. And we were at risk of losing a lot of donations. We had a lot of people who we contacted, and we gave away a ton of clothing. It was one of the things that we truly enjoy doing, is being able to be there to help out other people. If you can help support any type of a donation by using that QR code, it would be greatly appreciated. One of the things that you can do is you can use that QR code to shop with any of our partners, like Mr. Steve Solis, that we're going to be talking to in the first hour. You hire him, you take the invoice that he gives you, and you attach it to this QR code. That's all you got to do. Put your name. I guess you got to put your name and your email address on there, but your name, your email address, and you attach it to that the form that's going to pull up when you hit that QR code. And Steve gives us a portion of the sale. And hopefully your insurance company is going to cover your roof. So, you don't have a lot out of the pocket to pay for this. So Steve is also going to be talking about a lot of the things that some of these circus individuals, these fly-by-night companies, these ones who are going to set up tents everywhere and be door knocking, some of the things that they do. One of the stories I like to tell is that found out that my parents were told by an individual who was just walking by, knocking on doors, from going door to door, knocking on doors. And he said he could see from the ground where we had some damage up on our roof. The roof was only a couple months old. And so I immediately called Steve and asked Steve to jump up there and check it out. And Steve said, you know what? There's a little space where a little bit of the flashing is exposed, but it is absolutely nothing that you need to worry about and jump up there and do. It was somebody who just wanted to try to get a job, get the job done. And it, of course, was somebody from out of town. So Steve he is a partner. He has been with us for a long time. He's a great friend. And he's a person with high values and great integrity. Okay. Just a great person. He's not going to jump up there and rip you off. His job is to make sure your home is protected. Again, I'd like to introduce you to my friend. And this is a video from last year, so please forgive the background. But my friend, my partner, Mr. Steve Solis.
Very rare do I get a chance to talk to somebody who is as close to me as Steve is. This guy is one of my great friends. We got to meet pre-pandemic. There was a life pre-pandemic. I know it's kind of hard to remember. It's been a while, but Steve's been a great friend of mine. Hell, the guy showed up at my wedding. So, and he only had like an hour and a half notice, something like that, because I'm so prepared on everything. We know this. So, but, I gave him all the time in the world to get here and said, where are you when you were late? Nah, I didn't. But, but the thing is that he's a great guy. He's a great friend. He's done a lot for this company. He's done a lot for people out there. And I think the greatest thing I can say about Steve is he doesn't stop trying. Okay. If he's not going to, he's not going to climb up on your roof, take a look and say, well, you know what? I can get this job if I just kick this one shingle off. It's not like that with him. Steve has integrity. Steve stands behind his work and he stands behind his crews. And he is one hell of a balloon artist. Okay. I mean, this guy, he can do some things with balloons that, sculptors can't do with stone. So, he is very, very talented and a great friend of mine, and I am very, very happy to welcome in Mr. Steve Solis. How you doing, brother?
Great, I'm doing good. Thank you for that. That's quite humbling.
Yeah, every word meant. Every word meant. You've been a dear friend for. I cannot believe that we have to go through that. We had the whole AD, BC things, and now we're post-pandemic, pre-pandemic, so now we've got a new way of telling time. So, but you and I have done quite a bit of stuff together. Steve, how long have you been roofing?
Oh man, more than 40 years. I actually originally was taught by my father back in the late 60s, and we mostly did framing for years, and then I came back to it full-time in 1983 and been with it ever since.
One of the reasons why I really wanted to reach out to you is because we have had hellacious winds and the threat of snow. Here in the Greeley area, we haven't got hit other than a small dusting yesterday, but we haven't got hit with that. Geez, I think my dog just dropped a dinosaur or something. But dropped part of the house or something. I don't know what happened there. But anyway, there's we know right now in the United States there's just some terrible storms going through, and I thought this was a perfect time to talk to you. Heavy high winds are very, very damaging to roofs, are they not?
Yeah, well, there's several things to be considered with it. Actually, it hasn't been an incredible amount of years before the International Residential Code required a certain wind rating for products that were out there. And what was considered standard back at that time was no longer allowed, because the manufacturers, they had testing and they had information from underwriters' laboratories that their product would do a certain amount, but it wasn't even listed on the packages yet. So the building departments, in order to make sure that people were getting products that were going to be based upon the USGS standard for wind ratings, and these products had to pass that. At first, it was just a standard amount of wind, let's say 80 miles an hour, that might have been appropriate, but then they started wanting to meet a 3-second gust, they called it. So you could have 100 miles an hour, 3-second gust, and that allowed standard 3-tab shingles to be installed. And then it changed to sustained wind, and so you have a higher rating even now, anywhere from 100, 120, 130 miles an hour, which these products, once they are sealed, should be able to handle that situation. Well, so what wind damage is, it's not so much that the wind is taking the corner of a house where the shingles are and rolls it off. It's passing over the roof like the wing of an airplane, and it's trying to lift it off. So if the fastening of the shingles wasn't done real well, in other words, the nails were a little cockeyed, that it tears into the shingle. And so after so much time of trying to lift it off of there with these high winds, that after several years, maybe 5 years, the shingles start pulling up and over off of the roof, and it takes a number of shingles with it. And that usually happens more prominently on the upper third of a roof. So it kind of depends. So product type, wind rating type, installation practices all have to be done appropriately. So it is important who puts on your roof. It is important to know that the people that are your salesperson, the production manager, in our company happens to be the owner of the company, whoever oversees the work, and the roofers themselves. How long have they been doing this? And it's really not a length of time per se, because I've had people that, can you see my cat? Look at him.
Yeah.
This one guy claimed to have had a license in the city of Denver, which back in that time was the standard for the metro area. He claimed he had a license in Denver for 16 years, but I'm telling you what, I wouldn't have this guy put the shingles on my doghouse. I mean, it was really bad. So wind is an issue, but if things are done right at the beginning, got a quality material, quality installation, it can still happen, but it's got to be pretty high winds, once the shingles seal. Now, one of the great things amongst many things that we have in Colorado is that we have a mild climate. So even though we'll have very cold days and very high heat in the summertime, cat investigating the other cat. But for the most part, compared to other parts of the country and the world, we don't really have it that bad. So you have to choose the right day. Manufacturer says we need to have 45 degrees of rising temperatures in order to put on these products. And in Colorado, 45 is actually the ambient average for the month of January. So you can do this all year round, but you do have to wait till the conditions are more conducive to the shingle sealing as quickly as possible. But we don't hesitate if we have those kind of temperatures, because we're very rare in our industry in the state of Colorado to have a 10-year labor warranty that's in-house. It's our warranty, not something you buy from the manufacturer in order to get a longer term as far as that's concerned. But wind is an issue, obviously, but also time of year. When you have products that, because of these winds, and they don't even have to be high winds, a lot of new construction is done on the outlying areas around the town, and I'm saying outlying cities like Aurora, up in Adams County, Douglas County, all that sort of thing, that the product is installed when we're getting these constant winds, and really fine dust gets blown up between the layers, and the shingles never do completely seal down. So it does make a difference does make a difference how well that everybody is aware of these things, and does the contractor actually back their work? So if you did have a shingle or two that came off, are they going to come back and install that or replace that shingle and everything be back to normal again? So lot to that.
Well, when we have a situation like what we've got right now, where there's like ice particles in the air that are blowing up underneath those shingles, is that something that maybe as soon as it starts to die down a little bit, as soon as it starts to warm up, is this maybe something that people should really start looking at? Because maybe that water's been getting underneath those. Say you haven't had your roof, or you've had your roof for a little while. Is this when people should really start kind of worrying about it?
I wouldn't say worried about it. You just have to be aware. It's probably more accurate to say. Basically, the ice particles, usually from the edge of the roof, let's say 3 feet back, 5 feet back, and going up to the ridge, generally that's not a problem there. It can happen, but it's not as big a deal. Where the sealant is on the shingles when it overlaps these days is much better than what it used to be back when I started roofing, and that was a long time ago. But it's really the edge of the roof for the first couple of feet. Let's say your soffit area is 2 feet. In areas that require what they call an ice and water shield membrane, it goes from zero, basically at the gutter, up the roof, 2 feet inside of the inner wall. So say, for instance, your front door, you go another, let's say 6 inches for the framing, etc., and then another 2 feet, that ice and water shield has to be installed. And the idea there is if you have some moisture and it comes down to the edge of the roof, because of the soffit area, wind that comes up to that area, it basically freezes right there, and the snow and ice stay there for a lot longer than you would like it to, and it's possible for that moisture to back up underneath the shingles, hence coming inside the house. So it is a concern, but based upon the USGS as to what areas fit into the freeze area that we were just talking about, it all depends on. And it's already set in the code. Every building department along the Front Range has it set in their code, whether they require that or not. And you just need to know. But any qualified contractor, presuming they're qualified because they get a permit for the work that they do. And so they based upon freeze thaw calculations, whether it's required, how it's installed, and I was on the education committee for the Colorado Roofing Association back in the early 2000s, and that was one of the discussions, is that, first of all, are you in that climate that requires this product, and what is your interpretation of what is recommended by the manufacturer, so that anybody can have this information and install a roof appropriately. But ice crystals themselves generally are not the problem. It's the major thing. I've seen where you get blue ice on the edge of the roof and it's 8 inches thick, from the gutter up vertically, and it's blue ice. It's really weird, but it happens. But I wouldn't call. I guess there was a couple of years we had some really serious ice damming, and it happens on and off. But overall, you have conditions. So in other words, it doesn't get above 10 degrees for, let's say, 2 weeks or something like that.
How often should you have somebody climb up on top of your roof and take a look?
Well, it's kind of like, it's a bit of a guesswork. If you have a competent contractor, in other words, you had somebody that you hired at the beginning of the roof replacement, and they were well qualified, did a great job, passed inspection, it's likely that you don't need to have them back out. What's the length of their warranty? What if it's only 5 years? I probably would tend to say sometime before that 5 years is up, maybe at 4 years, maybe at 3 years, to get up there and just double check it. The warranty only covers, it's a limited warranty, so there are some parameters on how this should be done, and you're not allowed really to make any changes. Say, for instance, you want to put a swamp cooler on your roof, and you neglect to tell your contractor that put on that roof, and somebody else came in, cut a hole, put the swamp cooler up there, and then it leaks. Whose fault is it? It doesn't fall underneath our warranty anymore because somebody altered the roof that we put on. So the homeowner has to go back to the swamp cooler installer. And that has happened to us. People said, hey, your roof is leaking. Well, no, it wasn't our fault. What occurred, it was you had somebody else come in and they altered the thing. But I would say, let's say you have that same good group come in. They did a good job. Everything went well. You have them come in, let's say, at 4 years, take a look. Does everything look okay to you? Is there anything we should be concerned about? Because we only have 1 more year left on your warranty, and I need to make sure that we move forward well. The second thing involved with that is if something happens in your life that things change and you're now going to sell that place, you're going to, or use it as an investment property, you want to make sure that what's there is in good shape. So, depending on how well the job is done or not, might mean that you need to have it checked out quicker or sooner. Say, for instance, that after the first rainstorm, it did leak on the swamp cooler, and it was already there, the swamp cooler. And because there was a problem, you probably want to call them back in a little bit sooner, maybe after a couple of years, and have them double check everything to make sure it's in good shape. And then as time goes along, you could probably lengthen that time, to 3, 5, 8 years, whatever, before you have it looked at again. But definitely before you're planning on actually letting go or renting that particular property, because people are notorious for not taking care of their investment property, oddly enough.
Out of sight, out of mind. That's something that you see it when you're driving up, but you don't really think about it, and it's kind of like we all complain about having insurance.
Yeah.
So we need to have insurance, let's go on ahead and real quickly move on to your other passion, which is your balloon art. You are one of the most talented people when it comes to twisting a balloon that looks like a deflated hot dog and turning it into some wonderful, wonderful art.
And one of our ladies from our referral group called me the most unique person in the group, and I'm not sure if that's a good thing or not. But anyway, I think she meant it positive.
Yeah, it might have been after I was gone then. So, but you can see a lot of his work right on his personal Facebook page. So if you want to look him up, you can see some of him. He practices all the time. He shows you examples of what he's working on. You're almost like, and I truly do mean this as a compliment. You're almost like an athlete. You put more time into this craft, because you do take this serious. You want to go out, you want to have a good time, you want to put out some quality product, and you want people to have fun doing it. You don't want just the kids to walk away going, "Wow, look!" You want mom and dad to do that too,
Right.
and I've seen it.
Right.
Mom and dad have usually come back and said, "Hey, what can you make me?"
Well, that is a fact. I did a birthday party for the 50 and over crowd, so everybody turns into a kid. So there's no doubt about that. And roofing, because I've been in it so long, I really don't study much on that. I mean, I try to be up to date on products and materials and installation and all of that. But every night I practice several things, but one of them is balloon art, and I do that 1 to 3 hours every day. I've been doing it for 19 plus years now, and I'm working on stuff all the time. Now, every once in a while, I will post something that wasn't my original. I I have friends all over the world that are masters at this. I mean, they make my stuff look like it's simple. I mean, just amazing things. And so I think I understand enough about the methods and techniques that people use. And if there's something that's there that I haven't tried, I'll go ahead and do that just to have it part of my repertoire. I don't even know how many things I do. I'm guessing over 200 variations, um, but I don't use them all when, let's say, I'm at a restaurant because I don't have time to do things that are longer than 2 or 3 minutes. So uh, you've seen my unicorn hat, and that takes 8 minutes, 7 balloons, and 2 LED lights I put into the eyeballs, and it's very popular. I should have put
Which
one
is
together
just,
for you.
I mean, it's just honestly one of the cutest damn things you'll ever see. Seeing these little kids running around with these little lights that are bobbling on the side of their head, know, and it's a real quick, please tell us, and I love this story. Please tell us the story about when you went down and the little old ladies down in when you went on a mission.
Oh man. Well, I knew a lady here in Denver. She's still doing this. She's about my age, and so she's been twisting balloons for, I don't know, 50 years, something like that. Anyway, she's super good and one of the most wonderful people I've ever met. And we had a booth at the roofing company at the Garden and Home Show, and I was walking through, and she was hired by a window installer to twist balloons and draw a crowd. And I was really amazed at not only what she did, but how many young kids were in line to get a balloon, and of course the parents were there to look at the products. And she had like 20 kids waiting in line. It was phenomenal. So I said to her after watching for a while, I said, I've got to learn how to do this. And she says, well, I give lessons, but it's got to be in groups of 15 or 20. Well, where was I going to find 15 or 20 people that wanted to do this? And so I kept the idea in my back pocket. And then I went ahead and my church was going to send a group to Uruguay to replace the roof. Look at there. And they wanted somebody to do origami because they were going to make hats for the kids and balloon animals. And I said, hey, I've got a friend that will give us lessons if you don't mind. But they didn't want to take the time or pay the money. So she sent me down. I called her up, told her my dilemma. I have 2 weeks. What am I going to do? So went down to the place where she gets her supplies, picked up a book, a video, bag of balloons, and a pump, and just started practicing. In 2 weeks, I learned to do 17 characters, so I knew I was on my way. But I was down there, and we were working our tails off every day. We were replacing a portion of a roof. here's my famous, one of my dragons. I make several. And I'd be sitting there with these different churches, and there might be 10 kids, there might be 50 kids. There was no way to know. And so the other people that were supposed to be helping me do this, I didn't tell them that I was taking these lessons and that I had increased our repertoire from 2 to 17. And so they were so embarrassed, they quit making them themselves, and I was doing all the balloons. But here I am twisting the balloons for the children, and there was a group of senior women. There were no senior men. And they're sitting there and they're watching me and they're commenting in Spanish. And I'm not fluent, but I know enough to be dangerous, right? So I'm
I know
sitting
enough
there
to
and
know that I'm
doing-
getting yelled at.
So then this lady, these ladies were sitting there watching me, and so they were commenting. And after I'd be done with the children, I'd go sit in the middle of these ladies, and I'd say in Spanish, "What do you want?" And they would say, "Oh, no, no, no." And I said, I insisted, "I'm going to make you something. What would you like?" And I only knew basic stuff: rabbit, dog, cat, swan, things of that nature. And I was handing it to them, and they would go like this. You could tell that they saw it as I see it, which is a work of art, and it was precious. And so they were so thankful that that's what convinced me I have to do this. So, but for the first 10 years, I was very basic, because most balloon twisters only do the basic stuff. But I didn't want that. I wanted to continue a work of art. So when I'm done, the kids are nodding their head, yes, and the parents are going, wow. That's when I know that I've achieved what I was after. And it's gone pretty well. I post these things all the time, as you know, and people comment on them, and so it's part of my repertoire from that point on. So, like I say, I don't even know how many I do, but I just have a ton of fun. If I'm where it's mostly adults, the women love the flowers and the teddy bears and polar bears, right? And yeah, and that sort of thing. But once the men see that I can do it, and they said, "Hey, I heard you can make a monkey on a tree. I got to see that." So I do it.
Yeah, or a dunce cap. I love that story. So,
Jester hat, buddy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, jester hat. That's right. So that was such a good time. That was for Day of the Deployed 3 years ago, I believe.
Wow.
And yeah, isn't that weird, right? And yeah, we went in, and there was a guy who came up to us. The gentleman had partaken in a soda or two, and an adult soda or two. So came up to Steve, and he wanted something. He just didn't know what he wanted. Steve goes, "I got the perfect thing for you." Made him a jester's
That's
hat.
right. I forgot
He
about
wore
that.
that thing back up to the bar, and I'm going to tell you something. He was the belle of the ball. I mean, he really was. So it was so fantastic. So
Yeah,
but
it
So-
really has it really has given me an avenue. You may not think so, but I actually was extremely shy growing up, and but I knew I was going to be doing something like this. I just didn't know what. And I have a bit of an art and craft background, but it happens to be right in my wheelhouse, because I love to engage people now, and it's a whole lot easier engaging people when it's talking about balloons than it is about roofing, because it's
Yeah.
things.
Oh,
It
yeah,
might be
yeah, I'd
necessary.
imagine.
It might have had hail damage, but we really don't want to deal with this. So making it easy to make decisions for with people concerning getting their roof back up to par, is obviously a good thing, and I see it that way. And when I was roofing, I saw it as a work of art. But I have to hand it off to other people now, because I'm way too stinking old to do that stuff anymore. Don't even want to. But when it comes to balloons, as long as my hands, and I do have carpal tunnel, and I wear braces and compression gloves, to protect myself. But as long as everything holds together, I'll do this until they put me in the box, buddy.
Well, I'm going to tell you something right now. You and I were talking before the show, and I told you I would much rather have your getting older butt up on my roof than my very, very large, bulbous ass up there because I did not feel very safe. So, and I, you've been up on our roof and you know that it's in good shape, but I'll guarantee you it's not in good enough shape to be under me. Okay. Our concrete floors sit there and go, oh no, not him again. So,
Yeah.
Steve, Steve, what is one thing that if somebody is noticing, say somebody's noticing uh, this one thing right now, they should give you a call because you need to get out there and make sure that there's not a problem.
Well, the thing is when is the last time you've had your roof inspected? If it has been longer than a few years, it would be a good idea. There's no cost, but statistically speaking, 1 out of 5 houses has some sort of issue. So I take pictures, yeah, because a lot of homeowners like yourself, they're not going to get up on that 2-story, especially, or if it's a steep roof. That's what I do. I get up there and I look at things, and I look at things with a critical eye because I don't want them to have a problem. Because if I look at it, I own that roof from that point on. Because if I say everything looks great, and then in the next spring we're getting all kinds of leaking, that doesn't look too well on me. So I try to give it a real critical eye. I make recommendations. I'll make notes of when I was out there. If it's time to consider a new roof, let's say it's been more than 14 years or so, it's a good idea to have things checked out. Things can be brought up to date, maybe some caulking. I use that term loosely. It's actually roofing mastic. Or maybe the flashing detail could have been done a little better. It's not uncommon at all to have just that one little leak, and it's a 10-year leak. Drip here, drip there, every time it snows or rains. And then all of a sudden your ceiling's falling in the upstairs bathroom. So it's a good idea just to have it checked out. When was the last time you've had it checked? Or maybe there was a question mark concerning the original installers. Yeah, they did my roof 5 years ago, but it failed inspection. They did come back and correct it, but that's kind of a red flag. So use your own judgment on that. And since it's free, let's get on every roof just to make sure we're not going to have any issues long term. It should be a 20-year situation. Should ever have to go back, sooner than that, unless it's a hail.
And people really should watch out for the fly-by-night, the circus tent roofers. They're not from the area. They're not. Oh, look, altitude's a thing. Everything that we live with every day, it's stuff that they're generally not used to. So how can you make sure? How can they guarantee that something's going to hold up if they don't know what to expect?
Right. Well, thing is as I said, just because they've been roofing a long time, even in the Colorado, doesn't necessarily guarantee anything. So getting references, maybe, I used to provide with every one of my potential customers a folder with all the information, some brochures, and in there I have the contact information for, let's say, 30 homeowners, not necessarily in your area, but let's say 30 of the last roofs we did. You're welcome to call them, ask whatever questions you want. We don't give them any parameters. I said, homeowners are going to ask you lots of detailed questions. How long did the job take? Were you satisfied with the work? Have you had any problems with the roof? Did they get a permit for, lots of stuff that they can ask and find out what the situation is. And, but it's rare, really rare for anybody to use that list, to call anybody on that list to ask these questions. And you would think when we're talking about an average of $10,000 that people would take more care about that. But they rely on the statement of their brother-in-law or something like that. Well, these guys did our roof and they did a great job. So you won't have any problem with them. Well, that's not a good thing. check with the Better Business Bureau, check with their supplier. Do they pay their bills? Do they always get a permit for the work that they do? Call the building department. Are you familiar with these guys? Do they do good work? You know, lots of things you can do to find out and really dig into whether these people are good or not, whether they're local or not. Just because they're local doesn't guarantee that they're that good. Like I said, this guy claimed he had a Denver license for 16 years, but again, really, really bad. So it does make a difference. My advantage is personally is that I roofed for many years, and so I've held the product, touched the product, sold the product, managed the product, all of that stuff. So, am I an expert? I'm a professional for sure, because of what I've done over the years. I've written articles for magazines here locally. I've been on TV 3 times to talk about ice damming and other situations on a roof. So I don't know everything, but I think I know enough to be able to help anybody with their roofing issues and concerns. Sometimes it's just a phone call, and then we could talk about it, because if it looks wrong, it probably is wrong. So a homeowner doesn't have to be an expert, but he said, I never did that before. So let's take a look at it and be sure that you're comforted when you go to bed at night. You don't have to worry about any of these things.
I ended up calling you once. I ended up calling you at one point in time because somebody was walking through my parents' neighborhood. They looked up on my parents' roof, and they knocked on the door and said that they saw a problem. They got up on the roof and they said that there was a problem. I called you because I know you, I trust you, obviously. You crawled up there and you were like, no. You said that there was a place that it could have been done better, but there was absolutely nothing that needed immediate attention.
Right.
That to me is something that, that first off, you're the guy, you're one of, you're the one I'm going to call because of this right here. You're part of the program. So you're willing to not only put things, your reputation online, you're willing to put your efforts behind helping people at the same time, but you're true about it. You're not going to lie about it. We all need money, but you're not going to create a necessity.
A situation. Yeah. Let me say, because I do a lot of inspections for realtors, how I look at it is, if my mother were buying or selling this property, what would I say? Because I need to be totally honest, because I'm held to a higher standard, having been formally on the education committee. But it amazes me. Now, again, I've been roofing for a long time and inspecting thousands of houses, and most of the time from the ground, hail large enough to do damage is only 1 inch in diameter. We often get 2 inch or more, but it only needs 1 inch, depending on the speed and the angle that is coming to the roof. So that being the case, it doesn't necessarily make really big divots into the roof, but enough to cause damage, because what hail damage is, it actually breaks the fabric of the shingle. So let's say we were talking about this here, and the upper part is where you see the granules, but on the underside is the fabric of the shingle itself. If you lift that up where a hail mark has been, there's supposed to be a fracture there for it to be counted in their numbers that they count in a 10 by 10 foot area. So, but almost nobody actually does that until they're trying to prove that it doesn't have enough damage up there to replace the roof. So if that's the case, and you have 1 inch hail in that area from the ground, I can't tell, and I've been doing this for years. You have to actually get up on the roof to make sure what you have, whether there's enough damage or not. So if you get, let's say, 3 marks in a 10 by 10 area, that does not constitute a roof replacement, and it only constitutes repairs. So whether it can be repaired is another question, but as far as actual damage, so standing on the ground, unless you see missing shingles, most of the time you can't tell if it's hail damage or not. But a thorough inspection after getting up there. So what I do is that I take a picture of the front of the house before I even get up there. I take a picture once I get up to the edge to see how many layers. I stand on top to take pictures vertically, and all of the projections, the vents, pipes, dormers, the flashing details. And then I show the homeowner, because they can see on my camera the first picture I took, because I've only been on their house. There's nothing else in that profile except their pictures. So I can prove to them, without them ever actually getting up on the roof, what is the condition of their roof. So that way they know that I'm being totally straightforward and honest and make an informed decision.
Well, my brother, time, I cannot believe that we've already spent 50 minutes together. It's amazing. We just don't get to talk near enough. That's for sure. So, but hopefully, we're going to be talking to each other again here in the next couple days or so. But I want to thank you so much for joining us. And please, you can reach out to Steve at 970-646-8108. 970-646-8108. You have questions, you have concerns, you want a balloon artist for your party.
Special balloons, buddy. Yeah, special
Balloons. That's right.
There you go.
This is the guy to talk to. And every time, remember, every time you hire this gentleman, he gives us a referral, and 80% of that referral goes to somebody in the community who could really use your help. So Steve, thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you.
Always love talking, just never get to do it enough. So
yeah, well, you and I both know 50 minutes is nothing.
yeah, well, yeah, that's right. So
right.
You know, we've eaten pizza together for longer than 50
That's
minutes.
That's it. All right, brother. You have a good evening.
You
Say
too.
hello
Thank
to my
you, sir.
friend Mike Martinez. He's a great guy.
Yeah, I will do that.
All right.
All right. Talk to you later. Steve. And again, like I said, integrity goes a long way, and especially if you're calling somebody to come and stand on your roof because you're dealing with something like we dealt with, and you know, our home got flooded last night because of the storms in northern Colorado. Of course, we were talking a lot about snow and everything. It wasn't snowing, it was hailing, and the hail was over. You know, it was big enough. Some were marble size, so that's not something that you know, we're gonna sit there and just poo-poo about, because it could have done a lot of damage. But I love the fact that he sat there and he told you that, you know, look, it doesn't cost you anything for me to get up there. And I'm just going to tell you right now, he's a great person to just even have a conversation with. Okay. And then you throw in the fact that if, and only if, you have damage that needs to be worked on and you hire Steve and Independence Roofing, he's going to give us a portion of what the insurance is going to pay him.
And you get to tell us, through all the people who have asked us for help, you get to tell us where you want a portion of that money to go. Up to 90% of that money is going to go to somebody else in the community. And you get to choose out of all the people who have asked us for help. So he's honest. He's a wonderful, wonderful guy. Fantastic to talk to. Really good friend and a great partner. So you can get a hold of Steve once again at 970-646-8108. 970-646-8108. Geez, I was watching that night. I feel naked without my beard. It's odd. I really do. So I don't think I've been so excited about this, saying these words, since I was like 6. But it's time to talk to Santa. And I met this gentleman. I met him a while back, and we were in a networking thing, and we had a conversation. We had a little bit of a conversation just in networking, and then it ended up that we came back around and started discussing. I learned more about his program. He's learned more about mine. And now we're really starting to think about what we can do together. John has come up with this wonderful program to where, and you're going to see why this fits, but John's come up with this wonderful program to really give kudos to businesses who help people and help them give themselves a little bit of an extra boost. Okay. It's very unique. And again, it's cool to me because this is a guy who, he didn't particularly want to do this. It really wasn't his thing. You'll hear a little bit more about it. I am proud to introduce you to, come on, kids, say it with me. It's Santa. So it is currently 80 degrees outside, and, June's just now starting, and look on the screen and you see Santa Claus. And I am wearing a Christmas tie because, well, he makes me feel like it's coming to Christmas. I'd like to introduce everybody to Santa. Papa John, how you doing?
Ho, 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 ho. I'm having a fantabulous day, ladies and gentlemen. And I hope you're having an awesome day too, because we like to share a little bit of Christmas spirit, or as Mrs. Claus says, Christmas, Santa's cause. Happiness, positivity, sharing, caring, and joyful.
It was your wife who convinced you to do this.
It sure was. When we met, she said, I didn't meet John. I met Santa. And I went, you're crazy. I said, I hate Christmas. And she said, nobody hates Christmas. And, the story goes, I'll tell you the short story of it. She hands me a handful of candy cane and says, next time you're walking through the store and you hear some kids squawking, you'll talk to them. Okay, typical male response. Here, little girl, do you want some candy? And I'm going to go to freaking jail. Giggle, giggle, laugh, laugh. She kicks me in the shin and she says, do it and let me know what the results are. Okay, so I'm walking through one of the big, box stores that we won't mention and give them some free publicity. And I hear some kids squawking and I'm going, well, I've got a big black winter coat on. I've got black pants on. I've got black tennis shoes on. There's no red and white. The only thing white is my white beard. And I went, oh, okay, here we go. If this is the opportune time. So I walked around the corner and I went, three little kids in the cart, and mom's looking for some clothes for them. Hey, are you supposed to be squawking back to mom like that? And that was it. I shut up. Well, they looked at me, they looked at mom, they looked at me, they looked at mom, they went, Santa, and their eyes went about the size of dinner plates, and they said, Santa, what are you doing here? I said, I hear some kids trying to get on the naughty list by squawking back to mom. No, no, Santa, no. I says, well, first of all, you better apologize to mom. Okay, we're sorry, Santa. I said, no, not to me. Mom has got you here because she's buying stuff for you. So you got to apologize to mom. So, okay, mom, we're sorry. I says, now, you never know when I'm going to walk around the corner. So you got to start behaving a little better. And of course, you got to ask mom if they can have a candy cane. And of course, she said yes. Now I said, I'm going to give you a candy cane as long as you promise to be nice and you listen to mom for the rest of the day and from now on. But Santa, no, I said, there is no buts. You got to behave and you got to be nice. So I hand him the candy cane and I says, now, if mom brings you shopping tomorrow, you never know. I might pop around the corner. Okay, Santa, we'll behave, we promise. He says, well, the good list is still in your category so far, as long as you behave. And I walked around the corner and I left it as that. And mom come following after me and she says, holy cow, Santa, I think you just made shopping enjoyable for the rest of the day. Santa has come to life, and Zach, I'm going to tell you, it has changed my world. It has changed my life. And it brings me so much happiness to share joy and happiness with people.
You know, I'm gonna tell you this, and you were telling me that story, and I know that my wife and I are trying to figure out a way to get our grandkids here for the summertime. But John, I'm gonna tell you this: when they get here, you and I might be doing a couple Zoom calls so we can just sit there and act like we're doing business, and to have the kids just accidentally make sure that they understand that Grandpa knows Santa Claus. So
Yes, and you would
maybe
not
that
be
can
the
help them
first,
behave a little bit.
and you would not be the first person that to do that. I have sent pictures to my friends so that they have my picture on their phone. So when their kids act up, they can go, see, I know him personally. Do I need to call him? Okay, mom, okay, dad, grandpa, mom, whoever the person is. And it's amazing how attitudes suddenly change.
Well, like I said, I think my wife is getting a good look at you, and she you know, because I've been telling her for a week now that, you know what, I'm interviewing Santa next week, and she's like, no, you're not. No, and like I said, she was kind of looking at me like I had lost my mind, but I'm really doing it. I'm interviewing Santa Claus.
We all know you've lost your mind. That was not even a question.
Show
So
your wife, bring your wife to the camera for a minute. There's the real deal in the suit.
Oh my gosh, and it's green behind you.
And
yeah.
this is how I dress all year round because I bring a lot of cheer and happiness to a lot of people.
That's awesome.
And it's really neat because your wife not only convinced you to do this, your wife makes your clothing.
Absolutely, she does. You know, she makes my suits for me. She makes all these amazing shirts for me. You know, if you didn't know, Zach, a good quality Santa suit is about $1,200. My belt is worth $700. Now, there again, you invest in yourself because the kids and the parents can see the fake stuff real quick. You know, I go to Santa school, I've got the background checks, I've got the insurance, I've got, you know, I take this very seriously because it has affected the way I live all the time. You know, I did this Halloween last year. I'm dressed like this, handing out candy to kids. And of course, kids and parents are saying, why is Santa handing out candy at Halloween? I'm on vacation and I'm having fun. ideas to market year round, to create happiness, to create positivity year round. And that's the cool part is, like you just said, Santa is not just here and gone. Santa can be an influence year round, not only for kids, but for adults as well.
And John, I think that that's where we can bring in what we were talking. Oh, by the way, so what you're telling me is that Santa Claus is like being a goaltender because the clothing is extremely expensive. I didn't get a chance to tell you this. My youngest son, he's a goaltender, so
Oh, well, there you go.
yeah,
Absolutely.
so I understand expensive clothing. Okay,
Oh, yes. Yeah, yeah, I understand that one. Uh-huh.
so uh, you and I were talking before we went live. There needs to be more Santa Claus and less anger. And I think that you and I, when we first started talking and we started talking about our drive for what we do, that's one of the reasons why you and I meshed like we did. We both see people who understand that, there's stuff out there that is not conducive for happy moods, but we can do something to where it doesn't ruin your life. You've got the Santa things going, we've got trying to help people. It's all about trying to lift spirits of people who are going through tough times.
Well, I think, in the last 4 years, the world and the US have been put through a lot of mm, interesting conversations, choices that many people didn't want to do. So it brought down their attitude, it brought down their bank account, it brought down a lot of the positivity in their life, not only in their lifestyle, but in their life. So now I'm coming about being Mr. Positive, being Mr. Happy, Mr. Joyful, loving to share. I mean, even the kids on TikTok, I give them big air hugs. And I don't have to see their face. I can see how they're typing. It brings some happiness to their world. And if we can all take that step one at a time to change some attitudes, change some minds, because people have been dragged through the dirt, Zach. We know especially in the last 4 years, and a lot of people are still confused on which way to turn. Well, you come along with your programs, I come along with mine. We're reaching out, we're helping people, we're showing them there is light at the end of the tunnel. There is some positive developments that are happening as long as they open up their mind to willing to accept them.
You know, John, I think one of the most important things that we always try to tell people is that if you're waiting for somebody else to solve your problems, you're waiting for the wrong people to do that. And we as a community can get together. And if COVID taught us anything, is that, you know what? Look, there's not the white knight going to come in on his horse and rescue us all. Okay. We can do this together, though. It's easier for us to work together to try to pick somebody else up and make sure that they're doing okay. We see the effects when they fall down. The people who are in the big White House on the Hill, and they're not the ones who see this every day. We see it and we can take care of it on our own. And if we, as a human species, if we were to get together and start bringing more joy to each other, we could do a lot for each other and we could stop with a lot of this divide.
That is such a powerful statement because we're living in such a divided world right now. And I'm not just talking politics, not
Mhm.
talking left, and I'm not talking right. the people that have the common sense and the people that don't have any sense.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we're seeing more and more of that. Let's get back to the days where people say please and thank you. Let's get back to the people that, you open the doors for your elders. You say, can I help you with anything? There doesn't have to be a shiny object at the end of a may I help you with something. This amazing country that we do live in, was built on helping one another. One person doing it by themselves. And we need to get back to those common sense ideas that we can help one another achieve a bigger goal than I can achieve.
We, a couple months ago in February, we did a program where we simply asked kids to tell us, what can you do today to help someone else, someone in need? And I'm going to tell you something, John, it was eye-opening. And I was telling parents, because of this exercise, if you're struggling on how to help someone, ask your kids. Because these kids, and I'm not a religious man, and I don't claim to be, but one of the best answers we had was pray for everyone. It wasn't pray for a specific person. It was pray for everyone. Another child, help people, help pick up something that someone dropped. Hey, I'm a big old boy, okay? They built that ground down there a hell of a lot further than it used to be. I'm going to tell you something. When I drop something down there, I don't like having to go get it. So if I had a kid that would help me pick it up, you better believe I'm going to be a happy guy about it.
Especially if it rolls under the table.
Oh yeah, no, it becomes dog food then. So because I can't get it. So yeah, or you get the grabby tool or the cane. So
that's what I'm building with this. Are you Santa approved? My saying last week, and I'll continue the saying this week, people are tired of dealing with the negative nannies. And we all know who they are. We've all dealt with them when we've all done whatever with them. But wouldn't it be cool if we can promote a happy, positive, joyful atmosphere and place togethership? So the community is building, and it's about building positivity. So, Are You Santa Approved is kind of growing by leaps and bounds. And I'm opening up the doors to some people thinking maybe there is some positivity in the world. Maybe there can be some happiness. And then back to your statement with the kids, if we start supporting each other, where does that take us? Because as our friends always say, especially our veteran community, there is no I in teamwork. Teams build the dream work.
Yep.
Thank you, Mr. Brian.
Yeah. Teamwork is, Yep.
You get much further working as a team than you do as an individual.
Yep. So teamwork makes the dream work. That's Brian Gibson. That's his his
Project
motto.
Die Hard, absolutely.
Yeah, Project Die Hard. So, which I was thrilled to hear that you were part of Project Die Hard. Project Die Hard, of course, is one of our partners, one of our mission partners. And remember, every time that you shop with any community pay it forward partner, you can support programs like Brian Gibson's Project Die Hard by going and finding his QR code on communitypayitforward.us. John, tell me, what is Santa approved business?
A Santa approved business is a happy, positive person that helps another person. Not necessarily children's toys, not necessarily children's activities, but people that want to help people. That's one of my biggest promotions is I want people, and yes, there is criteria to being Santa approved, but I want to make sure that they help other people, and that's a big criteria. And that opens the doors to a lot of different businesses, except lawyers. We don't want lawyers because, lawyers are normally had to throw that in, Zach,
I got a good friend that's a lawyer, and he does a pretty good job of it, which really makes it weird because he's also an injury attorney. So those are usually the grimiest of grimy lawyers. But Scott does a really good job with all of his. He takes and he doesn't throw commercials out there. He lets his charity do his walking. You go and look on what he sponsors, everything from junior golf to motorcycle riding to community pay it forward. So Scott's a really good guy. I want to touch on something that you said real quick, and then we'll continue. But it takes a lot more than saying I want to help to actually help someone.
Oh, absolutely. We see it all the time. We hear it all the time that Joe, Bob, and really, I want to do something. I want to do something, but they won't get up off their tush to actually do something. Now, the old proverbial, if everybody, I see this in community clubs and organizations. They have 50, 75, 100, 200, pick a number of members in an organization, but they're organizing a ball tournament. They're organizing a street dance. They're organizing something to help raise money for the organization. And it's always the same 5 people that are involved. I said, you know how you change that? They said, what? Part of the membership agreement is you have to volunteer at one of our events 2 hours, 3 hours, pick a number, whatever it is, and say, as part of your membership agreement, you have to donate 2 hours out of a year or 5 hours out of a year to help this organization step up. And they go, well, we can't do that because they won't. Well, then they don't want to be part of the organization very hard. And then you being a volunteer run organization, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It. I mean, I've seen it for many. I'm also a DJ, Zach, and I go to these dances that they put on for fundraisers, and it's the same 5 people, the same 10 people that are doing all the work, and the other people are going, yeah, we're having a good time. Wasn't this so much fun? But why didn't you volunteer? And that is such a powerful word that we don't emphasize enough. Why do people say they want to volunteer, they want to help, but they can't get up off their tush to actually make the step?
John, I really think that has a lot to do with it. We've got it ingrained within our systems to where we hear help, and the first thing we think of is money.
Yep.
And it's not all about money. Money is the coldest thing in the world. Really, money a lot of times is a cop-out. There are so many things that we could do within our own communities for people that make a huge difference. Carry a hoodie in your vehicle. And if you see somebody who's cold, or believe it or not, too hot, give them that hoodie to get away from the the elements, you know.
Yep.
I say it at the end of every show. If you make a little too much dinner, if Mrs. Claus makes a little too much dinner, throw it in the old hillbilly Tupperware and take it, zap it in the microwave, and take it to someone who is suffering from hunger. These are things that, yeah, it does cost a little bit of money, but it doesn't cost the money that you're thinking. It takes a little bit of ingenuity and thought. And if we put a little bit of thought, we could go
We
a
as
long way.
society have forgot about the people or the businesses or organizations outside of our house. They don't exist outside of our house. Now, I know you've got people, this is what my Mrs. Claus does as well, and it brings both of us a lot of great pleasure. She is always knitting, always crocheting. She's making blankets, homemade blankets. Where do they go? To the women's shelter, to the community centers that need that little bit extra. No, we can't do thousands,
No,
but let me tell you, when we do 10 or 15 people that are put in these types of situation, and we all know, we've all heard the stories. We might not know someone personally, but a brother, of a sister, of a friend, of a, they're in a bad situation. They don't have more than a sweatshirt on their back to receive a homemade blanket. Oh, that's going to make them incredibly thankful that someone thought of them.
you know, imagine every time that that person throws that blanket over their chest. They're going to know exactly where it came from, and you're going to be at top of mind. And we all know that money rules the world. We all know that.
Yep.
But there's nothing in this world that is safer for everyone than comfort and making people comfortable.
When I was telling you earlier on, I do a lot of stuff on TikTok, and I get a lot of the kids that are on the spectrum coming to visit, and they're there every day. Some of these kids just want a little bit of attention, and I give them a big air hug, Zach, and you can tell that is huge, because for whatever reason, nobody gave them a hug today. How painful, how much does it cost in your wallet or your purse to give someone a hug and say you're going to be okay today? That is powerful, huge, and
And please get us clear here. We're not saying walk up to the cute girl at the store and hug her. It's not what
no,
we're saying here.
no,
Okay.
no.
But you know what? Smile at someone. Talk to someone. If you see a mom who's frazzled, make a lighthearted joke at your own expense. I do that all the time, John. I'll sit there and I'll be at a checkout, and there'll be a kid raising stink with mom, and I wear a lot of red, and I used to have a pretty gray beard and stuff, but
You grew up?
I didn't have the Santa thing going. But what I can do is I'm sitting there and I'm doing my shopping, so I've got like donuts and fruit pies and candy and stuff like that going across and I'll reach over, and mom will be sitting there ready to pull her hair out, and I'll reach over into the cooler and grab myself one of my diet Pepsis, and I'll look at her and I'll say, well, I got to watch my girlish figure. I have seen so many moms just kind of watch the stress just drain for a second, because they're like, oh my God, this fat guy just said he's got to watch his girlish figure. His girlish figure is way gone. But it is so it's fun for me to do, because I know that for a split second someone forgot that, wow, my kid's being a pain in the ass.
Yep. Absolutely. And that we see it all the time. And I can elaborate on that. I had gone out to the car. Mrs. Claus was still in the store, and mom, actually, I think it was grandma and grandpa were looking after the little one, and he wanted something at the candy aisle. And grandma and grandpa said no. And he started raising a stink. And well, Mrs. Claus brought out one of the business cards and said, "You know who I am?" And he goes, "No." "Well, who's this picture on the card?" "Well, that's Santa." "Well, I'm Mrs. Claus. Do I have to go get Santa out of the car to come and talk to you?" "No way, you're not." "Yes, I am." Well, it turned out they walked right in front of the car, right in front of me. And she said to that little boy, "Look who's sitting in the car." And yes, I was sitting dressed like this. And that little boy's eyes went about this big, and he went, "Oh, oh, oh, yes." Now I'm not saying we need to have the power of Santa to correct the children, but maybe they need a little bit of extra attention for whatever reason. Maybe, you know, they just need a talking to without, firmly, grabbing them like they should be. And but you know what? It was kind of funny because Grandpa brought him over to the car, and of course, I said hello, and holy moly, did his attitude suddenly change. But your story is just as powerful because it makes mom, like you said, think for even 10 seconds that, wow, somebody made me smile, somebody made me giggle, somebody made me think of something different other than my child who is, a little unruly at the moment.
It's
But
not that, yeah, I mean, it's not that we're out there trying to change a life.
nope,
Change a part of a life, and that part of a life can become a day, and that day can become a week, and that week can become a month, a year.
I can elaborate on that exact same thing. I can get out of a car, I can get out of a truck, I can walk around the corner, get into a meeting, and you did it. You see me, you got a great big smile on your face. I make people smile. And what you just said, that changes people's lives for a minute, an hour, a day, or a week. Now they've seen Santa. They've got a reason to smile. They've got a reason to think back of maybe a wonderful memory that they had from their childhood where they had a moment with Santa. Now, that can be as powerful as you let your mind be.
Well,
But
I
those, we need to have more of those moments, you know?
and look, it doesn't take Santa Claus to do it.
No, no,
It
you know,
takes all of us to do it. And if
how
all of
about
us would concentrate on doing it,
how about our seniors, Zach? How about saying, "How are you today, sir or ma'am? Can I open the door for you?"
yeah,
Without our seniors, without our veterans, saying thank you to a veteran, there is no story, and we've just got to emphasize how important those little stories can explode to be big stories.
and we really need to stop thinking, people who are getting a little up there in age, we need to stop thinking that thinking down on these kids, because you know what the truth is that the seniors did that to us when we were younger. you know, we just need to remember that we all learn things at a different pace. We all, you know, they've got technology that they don't have to work the way that we used to. I believe I said this last week, but you know what? Imagine how many more pyramids there would have been if the Egyptians had trains. Okay. We learn, we grow, we teach others. When we
But
teaching others to be good
taking
to
that
each other.
statement, hang on, Zach, taking that statement, if we don't learn from our mistakes,
Yes.
then we're the biggest fool going.
If we don't learn from mistakes, we lead to mistakes.
Yep, absolutely.
So, John, how do people get a hold of you?
SantaPapaJohn.com. It's that simple. And I would love to have a conversation with anybody. And I'd love to, I do one of a kind happy birthday videos. I do Santa check-in videos. I'm a Santa that thinks outside the gift box, not just the box. I think outside the gift box. And I would love to share some happiness with some people. You got that special friend that's having a birthday and you don't know what to get them. Hey, I can make some pretty cool uh happy birthday videos. And I started this Santa check-in videos as a way to encourage the children, as a way to encourage young adults to maybe clean up their act or something like that. But I got my hand slapped here 2 weeks ago because a lady said to me, "Are you promoting this to seniors?" And I went, well, no, not really. She said, well, her mother was housebound for the last 5 years of her life, loved the idea of Christmas, loved the idea of Santa, and would have loved to have a video sent to her from Santa to cheer her up. So now I'm on a mission to hunt down nursing homes, senior care centers, dementia and Alzheimer's patients, because Santa brings up happy childhood memories of their younger youth life. And we all know those are normally pretty happy moments. And we can make our seniors that are maybe not in the best of situations smile a little bit, think of a better time. They're going to be a lot better off.
John, and I'm gonna have to remember to make this introduction, but there is a lady that we had on Footprints Forward a couple months back who runs a program called Senior Snuggles. And exactly what you do with giving the virtual hug, that's what she teaches seniors to do, is give themselves virtual hugs.
Wow.
Because you're right, we forget a lot of times that these seniors who have been with people their entire life are now alone a lot of times.
Yes.
Yep. Alone as far as it goes from people that they love and respect. Yeah, they have people coming in taking care of them. But you know what? If there's not the love and respect there, you're still alone. So
Yep.
just
and
remember
unfortunately, we've all heard the stories of our seniors getting put into the nursing homes or the senior housing, and then they're forgotten about.
Yep.
Well, they still have birthdays. They still need a reason to smile. They still need a reason. As my wife says, she has the cats that enables her a reason to get out of bed so she can look after the critters, and then that starts the motion for the whole day. People sometimes need a reason to get out of bed. And it can be as simple as a video. It can be as simple as a hello. It can be as simple as, how is your day going today? And we cannot forget about those people.
Here's the thing. We got this wonderful technology. You're in another state, and we're sitting here having a conversation like you're sitting right across from me. Make sure that you do that. All right. Make sure that, take this time. Maybe think of somebody that you haven't talked to in a long time that could really benefit from you just saying hi. Whether it's a friend, whether it's a family member, whether it's just, an old teacher or somebody. My Rudolph is back to bug me, I guess. So, but make sure that you take this time to take and reach out to him and say, hey, you know what? Santa reminded me that you might need me. Let's reach out and talk to people. What's that website again?
www.santapapajohn.com.
All right. John, do you have anything coming up that we need to know about?
Oh, nothing. Next Monday, I am holding a Santa's VIP session, and I'll make sure you get the link for that. It's going to be an open podcast, an open Zoom where people can come and ask questions. They can learn more about some of my programs. They can ask questions to the other participants. It's just a general townhouse coffee table chat session with Santa and all their friends. That's next Monday at 5 o'clock Central. And you can find that link on all over LinkedIn and Alignable. And
Yep.
I'll make sure it gets out.
And I'll make sure that the link is in the description so you can all find it right here as well. So also Santa does a program on Sundays where he's a small business shout out. Make sure that you join him. That's on Facebook, correct?
I do that. I record a video and I say, let's support our friend's small business. It doesn't cost anything to support your friend's small business. And what I mean by that is like, share, comment. That builds the algorithms for your friend's small business page. Pick a platform, whatever it is, but that's the biggest way we can support our friend's small business, and it doesn't cost a nickel, not even a shiny penny. But if we all did that, imagine if, oh, excuse me, imagine if we had 1,000 friends and Zach, all of a sudden, I said that statement, and tomorrow morning, Zach, you woke up to your platform having 1,000 new likes. What would that do to your reach? What would that do to your growth? What would that do to the algorithm to spread what you're doing? But it's that simple, folks. If we go and support a friend's small business, and we all have friends that are trying to get their business off the ground.
And just remember this. I mentioned it earlier with about the money thing. Okay, yeah, money rules, money runs everything. But you know what? There's somebody out there that if you would share your friend's information, if you would share the information about their nonprofit, if you would share their information about their business, if you would just take and tag them by using that wonderful little @ sign before you put their name in there, there's somebody out there right now that is needing their business. They need their business. They need their organization. They need the services that are providing for them to continue. Just remember that your word of mouth can mean success for so many people.
Absolutely. And it's that simple. It doesn't have to cost you $1, $10. Pick a number. Share it, because someone, like you said, someone needs your friend's services.
You're already on the Facebook or the LinkedIn or Twitter or TikTok or whatever. Tag a friend. Every time that you make a funny post or something, tag a friend. Say, hey, y'all checked out at Santa Papa John. Have you checked out what he does? And you know what? His information comes up there. There's going to be somebody who's going to sit there and go, I wonder what this is all. I love this.
Yeah.
It's that easy, as you said. www.santapapajohn.com.
And the John is JOHN.
All right. Santa, happy June.
Almost.
Yeah.
Almost.
And,
Zach, you know what we didn't do the whole time?
Uh-oh.
Ho, 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 ho. Folks, you need a smile, support Zach. He's got an incredible program going on. I'm here to make you smile. I do all kinds of videos. I think outside the gift box. But you know what? Collaboration, teamwork, support from all of you out there in wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening to this from. Share this, like it, follow it, make some comments on it when you see it. And you never know who your friends need one of our services.
That's right. And now you know that if you ever see the Santa Papa John Santa approved button, you know it's a damn good business. So
There you go. Absolutely.
Santa, thank you, my friend. I look forward to working with you for a long time to come.
Absolutely, Zach. This has been a lot of fun. We shared some great information. And more importantly, I hope we opened up some eyeballs to some of your listeners to there is ways to think outside the gift box to make people smile.
That's right. Well, thank you, sir. I again, it's great to be able to talk to you, and I greatly appreciate it. Visit santapapajohn.com. Find out how to make your business Santa approved. Thank you, sir.
Truly appreciate it.
Looking to make a difference with your shopping? Visit communitypayitforward.us. Select the mission or cause you want to support and scan the QR code. You have two options. Click the first link and browse our giving partners, or use the second link to tell us what you need, and we'll find the right partners for you. Shop with these partners and keep your receipt or invoice. Next, click a picture or simply upload a picture of your receipt to the portal in every form, adding your name and email address. Your purchase now turns into a donation to the mission you've chosen. Community Pay It Forward shares your business story with those in need of your services to rally support for those who need us all. You know, if you would have told me when I was a kid that I was going to be friends with Santa Claus, I would have, probably said dream come true. There's one of the bucket list things, of course. I was born before the bucket list even was created. But SantaPapaJohn.com again. What a wonderful thing. It's just another example of somebody who's got a personality, somebody who's using something that a God-given gift, and they're using it for good. He's turned himself into Santa Claus, and very convincing Santa Claus at that. So I think it's great. He's a wonderful person to talk to. If you are in business and you want something that's going to make you stand out, call him. 218-820-8545. 218-820-8545. Or go to his website, santapapajohn.com. That's santapapajohn.com. Again, been an interesting day for me, due to waking up to about 6 inches of water in some places. Some places it was just wet. One of the funny things that we found towards before I had to start working is I looked underneath the table and we had mud that was about 4 inches thick. It was just gotta love old houses. But but please remember, the shop, click, and pick is very simple. All we ask you to do is visit our partners from around the gamut of what you need done. And when you shop with them and you turn in a receipt, that receipt turns into a donation for something that you choose. If you'd like to know a little more about it, the QR code up top is a way that you can get a hold of us. Just go on ahead and scan that, and we will get right back to you. That is going to end this show. Yeah, a little bit early tonight, but got more carpet that needs ripping out. So we're gonna be ending the show a little bit early tonight, but we will be back next week when we introduce a brand new mission partner to you, and their program. It's the story behind it was her father was diagnosed with dementia. And as what happens with most nonprofits, Dad started thinking, I see what I'm doing to you and I don't like it. What can we do to help others? And of course, her first thought was, Dad, let's take care of you first. You know, they learned a lot because they went through a lot. And in the nonprofit way, that learning a lot became a life lesson that they're wanting to share with everyone. They're wanting to teach people how to bring the dignity back to lives with people with dementia. Again, it's called Dignify Dementia. They will be here next week with Melissa Lozado and myself of One Hope Wines. And every time you buy a bottle of wine starting next week, Dignify Dementia gets a portion of the bottle if you use their QR code. We will be introducing that QR code early next week. I do want to make sure that everybody still remembers world music development. But our program that we were with this last year or this last month, wonderful program where they were trying to take, and their goal is to make music make life better. So they've got an event coming up in August, and if you would like to know a little bit more about them, please revisit our program from 2 weeks ago, or I will be playing it again here at the top of the hour. So you can learn more about what they do and how you can still support them by purchasing wine using their QR code. Folks, that's it for me for tonight, for this week. I want to thank you so very much for joining me right here on Community Impact. I want to thank everybody for everything that you've done for someone else today and every day. Please remember, hey, folks, weather is scary out there right now, okay? The Midwest is getting knocked around. I know that's not the only place. I know that everybody's having difficulties, but please make sure that we're a little more patient right now because you don't know what somebody else is going through. Please take our lead. We had donations that were going to go bad if we couldn't get it out to people. We put it out there on Facebook with clothes that had been donated to us. We gave them away for free. And I know for a fact we've got at least 10 families today who have a little bit of something because we had it and we just gave it away for free. So, you know, if you've got extra clothing, please make sure it gets on the back of good people who are going through tough times. If you got extra food, please make sure you throw it in the old hillbilly Tupperware. Take it to where somebody is battling hunger. It's a little step for you, but it's a giant help for someone else. And when they receive that, it's a bigger gift than you will ever know. Please remember to love somebody out here, because somebody out here loves you. Thank you very much. Remember, if you're not helping someone, you're hurting everyone. So no one has to go it alone when we all come together. Let's come together. Let's make this a better life. Let's make this a better place. And thank you very much. Take care of everyone, folks, because you know what? We're all we got. We'll see you next week. Thank you so very much.
Show me the way. You wanna hold the heart, Sunset Boulevard. Bring me here, 'cause it's not quite clear to be a part of Sunset Boulevard.